Kate Taylor on the Unused Subs. Really happy to see Chloe.
And are you happy to see her too?
I'm so happy to see
there was hesitation
Kate.
Didn't exactly fly into it, did you?
I love it. I really appreciate it. I get to catch up with my friends, have a bit of a chat.
And we're paying you to do it as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem genuine though, does it, Kate? That came across a little bit inauthentic, didn't it? You know, really kind of emphasised the friends and glossed over the payment.
No, it's okay. It's all good.
How old would Kate have been when you started playing with her at the Phoenix?
I feel like, were you 17 turning 18? Like,
Yeah, do you remember we had my birthday before we went?
yeah, in Wellington.
Oh, yeah. I was really, let's say, disciplined at that age. Well, I still try to be disciplined, but I feel like I was very rigid. But I hope maybe don't use this. But we ended up trying to sneak alcohol back into the hotel, and Gemma and Nat were in the lobby staring at us.
So hold up, what are you trying to sneak back in, Kate? Because this has happened a wee while ago. I think we should feel comfortable using this.
Yeah,
Let's
this
get the
is fine.
details.
This
This
is
is
fine.
great.
Well, I'm pretty sure the story goes that everything was shut. I don't know what time it was, but I'm pretty sure everything was shut. And so we ran to Countdown and had disgusting cider, and I'm pretty sure someone found a shot bucket.
A shot bucket?
What's a
Yeah.
shot?
I mean, I know
That
a shot
would've been
glass.
Gomez.
What
Hold
on
up.
earth is a shot bucket?
I don't know, it just had a bunch of disgusting, like, flavours mixed in together. It was terrible.
Was this like Four Kings?
You know, like the buckets, and they've got the snake bites in, like the green and
the,
white.
The diagonal.
That's and there was about 15 of them in there. It would have been Gomez or something.
Ugh, gross.
Chloe,
Oh
do you
my
remember
gosh.
when we were at the end of season party, I think it was last year, and we played that drinking game with Kelly? That was terrible.
Yeah.
It was I don't know what, she was putting cards on the table, and Chloe and I just had to keep drinking, and I don't know
feel like
what
we
was going
we were the
on.
ones that got targeted every time. Like it would always be like Kate and Chloe, like let's get them. I feel like it was a game that Kelly made up that she only knew the rules to.
So
You
she
know?
was always going to
Authoritarian. I like that. That's
Yeah.
good. It's very good from Kelly.
But I can understand why you two were targeted, because in Kate's words, she's rigid and you're straight-laced, and so they're trying to, get you two to, I don't know, let
Loosen
the
up.
hair down and
Yeah.
loosen up.
Pretty much. I think that was it.
yeah.
I remember Scott Autumn was with us.
Yeah.
The walrus was there. What's he doing there?
Oh, I feel like low key he's a bit of a menace, Kate. He's been through enough pastures in professional football to know his way around. He'd love a drinking game.
It was not okay, but anyway, sorry.
G's just said that Chloe's straight laced there. Rigid, I think, is doing you a disservice. You're very professional.
She
and-
said it.
I know. I'm correcting her as much as you. But you came into professional football to a brand new club at the age of 17. Quite often players might be a bit overawed, they might be a bit polite, they might be deferential to the senior players in the group, but you didn't appear to have any of those sort of considerations. So what was it like for you going into that brand new Phoenix environment?
I feel like for me and everyone else, we were all in it together. We had no idea what was going on, what to expect. We didn't know each other, so I feel like we just got on with what we knew, and that was basically nothing. So we just literally experienced everything together, and there was no kind of you're better than me or you have more experience, because we were literally all on the same playing field. And I think that, I mean, we were in a tough situation to begin with, living in uni dorm rooms in Australia, but yeah, I think we just kind of played together and enjoyed it, and I think that's what really helped us.
For you, I think you were more of a leader than what you thought you were, maybe. Like you came in as one of the youngest players, but you just carried yourself with so much experience on and off the field. So I think that definitely stood out to me when I met you.
I had you to help, so
This is the thing I love, is that we get the guys on, Kate, and like they are bursting at the seams to absolutely rip each other apart, and then get the girls on, and it's like all these compliments, and I'm like, I don't really know how to handle this. This is not the vibe that I'm
Yeah,
used
because
to.
if we had somebody come on and give like a testimonial about you, it would
Oh.
just be taking the piss. You
Yes.
spent all your days on the subs bench. No wonder you retired early.
Well, David Ball, Scott Wooden, we've got all
Yeah,
these
yeah.
players that have come in, but yes, thank you. I did notice the compliments there.
I think it was cool too, like in the way that the coaches kind of brought us into it. Like we had a couple of days notice basically to commit to the team and then move to Australia. So it was like, I'm pretty sure I got a call and it was like, okay, do you want to be in the Phoenix? If so, like first decide, and then if you decide yes, then you're moving in 3 days. So pack your life up. This is during COVID, like we're in lockdown, I think. Pack your life up. Don't know if you can fly back because it's a lockdown over there. So we actually don't know what the flights will be like.
So it's more than just signing up for a team. You're transplanting your life.
Yeah, you may not be able to fly back.
Or putting your life on hold, essentially.
Pretty much. And your family might not be able to visit. You may not be able to come back. And I think I just remember being like, I had a moment where I was like, oh, wait, should I do this? But I think overall it was like, this is such an amazing opportunity. Like, how could you say no to that? My whole family was saying the same thing. So I think it just felt like a lot of new, exciting things, and we were just like rolling with it. Like, it's lockdown, we're going to play for the first ever professional team, and a lot of the way the coaches set it up was like, look, we've come together under crazy circumstances. Let's do the best we can with what we've got, and like basically just do what we can.
Speaking of crazy circumstances, I'm assuming that, again, the women's team and the men's team differ on this front as well. We had David Ball and Ben Old talking about how when they were in the COVID scenario, David Ball glad-wrapped Ben Old and then wheeled him into a team meeting. Were the women getting up to antics like this when they were...
Christmas Day?
Oh, hang on.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That was...
Please elaborate, Kate.
I feel like that was pretty low key. I just remember playing games, as in like a treasure hunt, like nothing glad wrapping people to each other or anything like that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think they just hid a elf around where we lived, and I remember it got pretty competitive towards the end, and the elf was in the washing machine room. I remember that, and
we had a couple
we
of
were
injuries.
tackling each other
people
down the stairs.
Yeah.
What? Hold up.
Competitive. Yeah.
So there was like a stairway fight.
I feel like it was
There was a stairway fight. Like people were scratching, like jumping over people, trying to win this like Christmas challenge.
Who's the main perpetrator here?
Yeah, good for team bonding. This is
Who was it?
I feel like it was you. Was it not? You're trying to think, and I'm pretty sure it was
sound
you.
like something I
No
would
wonder
do.
you're deflecting and looking up. Oh, yeah, who was it? Who was it? Oh, it was
sound
me.
like me.
So, Kate, done with the Phoenix. You then get to the end of your contract with them. What is the process like for then moving on? And obviously you're at Dijon now, but is there options on the are there options on the table? Is there a particular pathway that you followed, engaging with an agent, stuff like that? I think that's really important for particularly young female footballers to hear, because we get asked these questions a lot.
So for me, I already had an agent. I don't know if I must have signed with her between the first season and the second season. And I kind of did that because after the first season, I was contemplating whether I should go overseas straight away or whether I should kind of stay, earn my keep a little bit, prove to myself what I can do in the A-League, and kind of, I think it's a balance between jumping at opportunities versus kind of being smart and weighing up what's best. And so I definitely took a little bit of time in between those two seasons, but then after this last season that we just had, I knew I wanted to move on. I'd spent 3 years in the A-League and I really enjoyed my time, but I wanted more football and I wanted to learn a few more things. And so that was quite difficult, navigating the time between the season and the Olympics. I can't remember how long there was, but it was a decent amount of time. And so I knew that if I got selected for the Olympics and if I played at the Olympics, then that might open up some opportunities. So that was also a bit of a kind of a way up. Do you sign something before the Olympics and know what's kind of happening, or do you wait until after the Olympics and hope that bloody Barcelona come calling? But
you score a banger.
Wow.
Hope
No,
you score
but
a really good goal and
Yeah.
get looked at.
before we even left, I had a couple of offers and I wasn't quite happy with them. So I kind of went into the pre-Olympic tour still kind of seeing what came up, and So I had a few offers then, and that's when I got offered from Dijon as well. And then I had said to my agent, and we had agreed that if nothing had come in that period, then I would just wait. And so when the Dijon offer came up, she was like, "No, I think you should take this." It had to be a good deal for me. It had to not be worth it, but because you never quite know what you're going to get. But yeah, I think the French league is a really good league. It has some amazing players and amazing teams like Lyon and PSG. And so, yeah, I think that was a good leap for me. And I definitely didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I think it's kind of paid off.
How much mustard have you had since you turned up?
I've had a little bit. To be honest, it's really spicy here. The one you get in New Zealand isn't as spicy.
Well, that's the Dijonnaise, so it's mustard and mayonnaise over here. I'm assuming they don't do that in Dijon, though.
No, but they have some funky flavours and colours and all sorts.
Colours?
Tell us more.
Yeah.
Well, I have seen a purple one. I don't know, maybe it's beetroot and mustard.
So talk us through, Kate. So that's probably beetroot based. What else you got on the rainbow? I'm interested. I'm all in on this now.
Different shades of green, which is a bit interesting. I feel like I've seen a blue, but I could really be overstretching that one. But yeah, just a lot of different shades of colours, so maybe I should look at the back of those.
There's got to be an advertising opportunity for the club here, surely. I mean, it's Dijon, the home of mustard. Do you have any mustard sponsors?
Oh, I don't know. If there's not, they should definitely look into it, shouldn't they?
Because like down here at Auckland FC, I can't go anywhere without watching Alex Paulson drink some Anchor milk, right?
Yeah,
like
I
they've
see
got
that
a milk
everywhere.
sponsor. So there has to be an opportunity here where you're smearing mustard all over your face.
Like Juventus, it's the same sort of thing. Yeah, yeah. It's slightly aggressive, but
Maybe I have to go knock on the office door of someone, but no,
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure. I don't think so. Maybe some kind of cheese or something.
Potentially. Kate, now where in France is Dijon? Because Chloe and I weren't that familiar and got a bit of an education before we jumped on. So we're expecting it to be south, like down near Bordeaux, perhaps near the Riviera. It's not though, is it?
No, it's closer to Switzerland and Germany. The French people I've met seem to be very set in their French ways, so
How so?
yeah.
I don't
It's the
think you're
French
unique
way
in
or
that
the
experience.
highway. Basically.
Which means what? You've got to communicate with them in French. How's that
Yes.
going?
Terribly, but
Oh,
I know words, but just not sentences.
What's your, like, a word that you've nailed?
Maybe a swear word, but maybe I shouldn't say that.
Stop it! Stop avoiding
always
it,
a
Kate.
swear word, eh?
Stop
It's
avoiding
always
it.
a swear word.
We want to hear some French from Kate Taylor of Canada.
No. Well, if I was on the field,
Yes.
I would yell out "Sal," which means like alone, you're free, you can turn.
Oh.
So that's a good one,
Nice.
nice and helpful.
Do you know how to say, like, pass or, you know? What would you say if you wanted the ball?
Wee.
Yes.
oh my God. This is some basic shit, isn't it? Oh, wow. And how long have you been in Dijon for, Kate? Yes. What an education.
How are you going with like ordering groceries and going and doing normal day-to-day stuff?
So usually I start in French, and then once they ask something that I have no idea what they're saying, I say, "Do you speak English?" in French, and that's about it.
So-
That's as far as
It's
it
good
goes.
that you're giving it a go, though.
Yeah.
That's commendable.
It
I know we're
is.
Well
taking
done.
the piss here, Kate,
Yeah,
but
well,
I think
we
it's
are.
really important.
Yeah.
But so I think so you'd say the strongest piece of French that you've got is "Do you speak English?" Is that the best? The best
I
phrase?
would
As
say
long as you
so.
nail that one, you know, you'll be fine. Did your coach speak purely French?
Oh, good question, Chloe.
Yeah.
Oh, he speaks English, but then for some reason on game day he must get angry or something, and all of his English goes out the window and it's only in French.
Is it
It
this?
goes quite
Yeah, is it-
red. And
A lot of
they
gesticulations.
Yeah.
the arms,
The arms
both
start
arms. Yeah.
Like when he's communicating instructions, can you understand in French? How do you manage that?
Sometimes the word's quite similar. So in training, if someone demonstrates something and is speaking French at the same time, then that's okay. But on game day, you kind of know I like a lot of detail and just in
Mm.
general as well. And so I feel like I miss out on a whole lot of everything. But I mean, I guess if it was that important, they'd tell me, or I'll just get screamed out on the pitch, and that's fine too.
You learn pretty quickly, don't you,
It's a
Kate?
good lesson in like letting go, right? And like not
Yeah.
needing to ask for all the detail and just trusting yourself. I've got the basics.
It's very perceptive, actually.
It is good.
Level of intelligence not usually found on the unused subs.
Well, speak for yourself. Something must be clearly going right, despite the fact that your coach is swearing on the sideline and failing to communicate with you in English, because in recent times, Dijon hasn't really been in the upper echelon of the French division. But here we are with 2 matches to go in the regular season, and you're in 4th spot with a possibility of qualifying for Champions League football. And there's this very tantalising match against Paris FC in the final match. And if things go according to plan over the next couple of weeks, you could be in that top 3. So how have things been going throughout the course of the season, and how much of a carrot is that Champions League spot for you?
Yeah, so I think we have done really well this season, which is, I mean, going into it, I had no idea what to expect. Yeah, I had literally no idea. But I think when you look at our team, we have some really diverse kind of, some technical, some strong, some tactical, and also a very diverse culturally kind of, I guess, players and even staff and things like that. And so I think the combinations have just really been working, which is nice to see. And I think when we played a team in pre-season and they were from the second league and we drew, and so when that happened, I was like, oh no, what have I signed up for? But then kind of progressing through the season, I think we've found ways to score goals when we've needed them and put out some good performances and ones that we've got the result but not quite the performance. And so yeah, I think along the way we've kind of gelled really well on the field, which has been nice. But yeah, Champions League would be pretty awesome. So we'll kind of see what happens this weekend, and then yeah, it might be all up to play for. So
Lyon and PSG and Paris FC are obviously 3 very strong sides. So what has been your experience when you've come up against those teams?
when we first played Lyon at home, I looked around and I looked at our team and then I looked at theirs, and we were like a foot shorter than all of them. Not just Wendy Renard, who's 6'5", but literally all of them were so tall, and I just, yeah, I had no idea where they got their genes from, but I was a bit jealous, to be fair.
Well, who else is in the...
Not Canterbury.
Yeah. Who
Yeah.
else is in the Amazonian FC? Because Renard, I think, is familiar. Everyone will be familiar with her after the World Cup. But who else is in these teams, Kate? Because I think that's the thing, that the kind of stardom is not something that's appreciated back here.
Yeah, Lindsay Horan, Ellie Carpenter, Danielle van der Donk, Chawinga. I don't know if she is rapid and so strong. It's insane, honestly. And even you look at their bench, you've got so many French legends and people that have been in so many different countries and won Champions Leagues and won Olympic medals, and yeah, it's crazy. But I guess you kind of have to park that when you verse them, and yeah.
And so who did you come up against in those games? Like, who's been your toughest opponent whilst in France?
That's a good question.
Thank you, Kate.
I think Kelly Gago, I think that's how you say her last name. She was at Nantes, but now she's in Everton in the WSL. I thought she was really good to kind of watch and see. She's a bit of an underdog, but I mean, when we've played against PSG and Lyon, we're kind of a bit more defensive, so you're kind of sitting in a bit more of a block, which is, yeah, a bit interesting.
That's almost like a constellation of stars that Kate's referred to there.
Yeah, that's where you belong, you know, like pushing yourself against the best in the world, like that's where you belong. And I can only imagine the steps in your growth and your personal and player development that you've taken, like being around so many experienced and quality players. Like, it's just, yeah, such a cool place for you to be, and you absolutely should be there. That's where you should be.
Yeah, I just hope that more Kiwis kind of want to go overseas and actually do it as well. I think coming over here, I looked at the Kiwis that had played in France, and it was just Erin Naylor and and that was it.
What do you think are the like best parts about being there, like as a player, and like why should players go?
I think even just moving overseas in general, I think you have to grow up a little bit. You have to be okay with, maybe being by yourself a little bit of the time. So I just think it opens up so many different opportunities, and you get to play with people you would never have even thought of playing of. I hadn't heard of anyone in my team now, but now they all play for their countries respectively, and they've grown up different backgrounds, and so you learn a whole bunch, not just football, and I think it's been really awesome. And yeah, they always ask about Kiwi culture, and so you can share the Kiwi culture with more people as well, which is cool.
What Kiwi culture are they interested in? And being the ambassador
Sheep.
for New Zealand in Dijon, what do you give them back?
They think I live in the bush. Like, I'm not really sure. And I haven't said no. I haven't poo-hooed that, because I wish I lived in the bush. Like, I think that's sick. But obviously, if you know me and you know my parents, we don't live in the bush. But no, when I first got here, they wanted to know all about the haka and asked if we did it at the Olympics, and I guess that's the first thing they kind of ask about is the All Blacks or the haka. But yeah, they've seen like the different ponamas that I have, and so I think that's quite cool. But yeah, my roommate sometimes hears me singing like Waitas or something. Just, listening to Teo, and yeah.
Someone who could remind you of home, I don't know what the distance is between you two, Ben Old, who's over there playing for Saint Etienne, and here's a guy who,
also 21.
Yeah, similar, same age, and came through the same club, and now find you're both over in France. Have you reached out to him at all, and found out about his journey, and have you taken the piss out of his moustache yet, and how he's basically becoming a Frenchman overnight?
You might laugh, but I messaged him when I first signed, and he never replied. So
ghosting!
That's
What is
bad.
happening, Oldie?
I know.
Deanie.
But
Yeah.
no, apart from that, nope. The only encounter would be playing against his club. That's the only.
Is there anything you'd like to say to Ben Old right now? Because we can make sure
There are
that your
things that I
message
would like to
reaches
say
him.
to
There's other Chloe's going to get on board.
Yeah.
No, I just hope he's doing well with his recovery since coming back, and
Oh, Kate, this is a chance for you to put the boot in. Come on.
maybe reply to my message.
Yeah, reply to
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Kate, one thing that Oldie was at he kind of stressed, and it's something that's been repeated, is that Kiwis can be a little bit standoffish, can be a little bit polite. I mean, obviously, I don't think you've had that because you hit the ground running with the Phoenix, and then you've gone into this competitive Dijon environment and contributed. Has it been your experience that there's something in France that has kind of expanded you and made you realise that you need to be confident, bordering on a little bit arrogant at times in order to make your way in football?
Yeah, definitely. I just think how the culture is. I came over here and I didn't expect people to be overly friendly, but when you're in New Zealand, I feel like we spend a lot of time thinking about culture and working on it and how to get the best out of each other, whereas here, to me, so far, it's just been about football and the field, and you did this right and this wrong, and how can you do this better, but you don't really talk about it, it's just more expected, and so I think so far it's just kind of been ask what you need to ask, get on with the task, and execute, really, which it can be difficult at times, and I think sometimes when things aren't going my way, or if I have a question and I don't know how to ask it, or I don't know who to go to, you kind of are like, oh, what do I do? But it always works out in the end, and so I think that's also something I've had to kind of live with.
Massive news out of the weekend. Annalie Longo retiring from the women's game, and she would have played a huge role in both of your careers. Your initial thoughts to her finally calling it a day, and how she helped you in your career?
Yeah, I think I watched the game, and I think there was a feeling like, is this going to be her last game? Like, because the comment she'd made this year, and then obviously she confirmed at the end of the game, but just her not saying anything about that, like not making it a big deal and like allowing the team to focus on the team. And, you know, it just says a lot about her character. She didn't need the big song and dance to like, you know, send her off. It was all about the team in that moment. And I think, yeah, that's like speaks to her. And yeah, she is a leader and she's been very influential.
As a Cantabrian, I'm assuming Annalie was somebody that you looked up to, not physically looked up to because she's tiny, but you would have...
Apologies, Annalie.
You would have idolised her, right? So what did she mean for you and your burgeoning career?
Yeah, for me, she was always around. She was first a coach for me, and so then going from looking up to her as a fan to being coached by her to then playing with her was pretty incredible when you're quite young. And so even now she's just so good at like the details of things, and she really analyzes the game even when she's in it. And so I think that's something that people look up to and I still look up to now. You know, it hasn't changed now that she's playing and now that she might not play ever again, but yeah, I think she's a pretty awesome human being and she's done a lot for New Zealand football off the field as well.
You've said, you know, as a coach, she helped you develop, but as a player on the field, she plays in front of you a lot. So what would you see from her that separates her from the pack?
I think her standards and her reliability on the ball and even off the ball, like, you know what she's gonna give you. And even when you think you know what she's gonna give you more. And I think that's really awesome. I've seen it this season just watching the games, but her work ethic and her technical ability just to do things in pressure situations. She's always one step ahead. She's always trying to pick apart the opposition, or how can she do it in 10 minutes when they've figured out what we're doing. And I think those are things that, you know, you can't teach almost. They're just, yeah, it's just who she is, and it's really cool.
I remember seeing her, Chloe. I was pitch side because I was working the game down in Dunedin when the Ferns played against Switzerland. And it was right before half-time. It was 0-0. The Ferns had a period of pressure, and then Switzerland had responded. And they effectively went man for man, well, woman for woman, in the middle of the park with the Ferns to nullify them. And Flea was dictating things. She was going across to the coaching staff, how we're going to separate this. You know, she was actually had suggestions on the field, which was quite insane. So that gives you an idea of her intellect as well, the way she understands the game. And as Kate said, she's a student of it. We don't seem to create many players like that in this country. So is that, again, another thing that, for young players listening, allows you to understand what she brings to a team?
100%. And I think, like, even like you say, they were going man for man. Even if Flea's man for man, she'll find a way to play through that or play out or break the opposition down, which is a really hard thing to do. And I think, like you're saying, it's so hard to do on the fly in the game.
Kind of like you're building a plane while you're trying to fly it.
Yeah.
As well.
So for her to be able to know what's needed in that moment, go and chat to the staff, change things on the field, like that's going to win or lose you games. It's going to win you the momentum. It's going to like impact the whole team if you can like address that early and figure it out. So I think players can look up to that and be like, okay, how do I bring more of that in my game? How am I noticing patterns? Like, even if it's watching film or whatever it is, like just having more of an understanding, like an analytical frame. But like you're saying, it kind of can't be taught in a lot of ways. It's like she's instinctively doing that probably and has done it her whole life. So
the game that you're talking about, the fact that she made that World Cup was ridiculous in itself, because she was injured in the lead up to it, and you know, the time frame for the recovery was actually beyond the World Cup. We often talk about the discrepancies between the men's and the women's game. She was out there working a full-time job for New Zealand football as well as trying to be a professional footballer. So she's not going through the same recovery procedures as a male footballer. She's on her feet, you know, 30 hours a week or whatever, doing her job for New Zealand football. And was still able to make the World Cup. It was remarkable. And I suppose, Kate, that just speaks to what you were saying earlier, like her work ethic and her standards, even though she was getting absolutely flogged by a number of different entities, she was still able to sort herself out to get on the field for the Football Ferns at that World Cup. Remarkable stuff.
Yeah, honestly insane. And I remember seeing her when the Ferns played. Who did they play? Korea in Christchurch, I think it was. And she had worked so hard. We went down to this like girls' football day at English Park, and you could just see, she'd been training so hard to get back to playing. She'd organised this whole thing as a part of her job, and she was coming to the meetings and still being involved in the team. You could just see how much she wanted not only women's football in New Zealand to get better, but she wanted to make it back so desperately to play at a home World Cup. And I think it was really awesome and really inspiring.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, I was at the like pre-World Cup training camp in Auckland. They had one in Auckland with a wider squad, and she was like the best player at the squad at one point. Like when I was there, she was like the best performing midfielder. And this is her still coming back from injury, like pre-World Cup, not sure if she was going to be 100%. And she's like literally tearing the team apart, like getting the ball, like 1v1, beating players, like passing it around. And like, you're like, it's wild. It's crazy.
When the Ferns stepped out onto the field against Norway, you and Flea were pitch side for that. Can you just take us through, because I think we've kind of collectively forgotten in New Zealand at the moment, what that moment was like. I think 3 key parts of it. 1, the goal, because that place must have erupted. 2, when Ria hits the crossbar, at that point I'm like, oh, the football gods are getting involved here. Are they going to take this win away from us? And then the last bit for me is when that whistle goes. What was that feeling like?
That goal, I remember I was sitting next to Ava Collins and Grace Wisniewski, and Ava, if you know Ava, she is so loud and she was screaming in my ear. But honestly, when you just looked out across the field, you saw all the girls in the corner celebrating, and I'd just never seen anything like it. I'd never experienced anything like it as a player, as a fan when I was younger, nothing. And so I was just shocked. Like, I think I was probably frozen. I had no idea what to do. I had Ava screaming in my ear. I didn't know what it would do to the country, and so I think that was really special, and I hope I never forget that moment, and I don't know if anything will ever top that. But yeah, I think that was pretty special, and yeah, honestly, wow, like I remember it like it was yesterday, which is pretty cool. And then yeah, when that final whistle blew, we actually weren't allowed on the field, and so we had been told strictly that because we weren't accredited and blah 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 blah, we weren't allowed on the pitch.
Oh, fuck that, Kate.
Yeah.
Did you?
So we sprinted straight past that person that told us not to.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I love
and
it.
off we went.
F
and
you,
I-
man. We're going out there.
There's 20, oh, what was it like? Yeah, there's 15 of us. Good luck, sunshine.
Yeah.
I think I saw Ellie Riley first, and honestly, like, it was so cool. She was just bawling her eyes out, and the whole team was like crazy. They were like farm animals. That's probably not a good comparison, but yeah, it was indescribable. And I know my family was up in the crowd, and everyone had someone there that they knew, their brothers, their sisters, like, it was just awesome. It was, yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. Honestly, I remember Bowen did this knee slide into the huddle that the girls had made, and it was the perfect knee slide. I've never seen anything more perfect. She just slid on in there, stood up, and then boom, like celebration. It was cool.
That's dicey, right? Your knee sliding. If you
Yeah.
overcook that, mate, you're going to send them those pins
Yeah.
flying.
Yeah, you're playing bowling at that point. I don't know how she did it, but especially as a centre back too, I'm sure she probably doesn't do it too often, and I don't think many defenders do. But she'd practiced that when she was a kid or something. It was perfect.
Yeah. So good
Yeah.
knee slide conditions.
Yeah.
Because I'd worry that
Perfect.
the knee would catch.
I've
and
seen
then
that
you-
happen.
Yeah, you do yourself an
Yeah.
injury in the celebration. But you talk about how the moment was just incredible, and the sea of people that were there at Eden Park that night. I suppose when you're in front of that kind of crowd, you don't want to let those people down who have invested in the Football Ferns, right?
Yeah, definitely, and that was the girls' goal. It was to win a game, and it was to get out of the group, and obviously they won that game, and it was the opening one against Norway, who we'd played maybe a year and a half before, and we lost, and so yeah, I think it was awesome, and Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if anything will ever beat that, but I think the crowd and at all three games and even across the tournament, not just New Zealand playing, was pretty spectacular. And you saw the Black Ferns do that with their World Cup previously before our World Cup, and we knew it could happen, but it hadn't happened in New Zealand before. And so I think it was a benchmark, and hopefully, if the Ferns come back and play at home soon, and even the All Whites, they can get some really good crowds.
The thing that I heard from you in your answer there was you used the word they.
Yeah.
And you were part of
you
the
keep
squad.
saying that.
And you said they. And for me, and I'm trying to read into this, you didn't contribute, so in your mind, you don't get ownership over that moment. Did that then make your contribution at the Olympics and the goal that you scored even more special, having got to witness pitch side the huge moment here in New Zealand?
Yeah, I definitely think so, and I say they because I don't know, that's just who I am a little bit. But I mean, I saw it as a supporter, and I also saw it like I was in the squad as well because I was with them the whole time. So I kind of saw it from two perspectives, which I think in hindsight was, I never expected that, and so I think that was um, pretty cool, even though it was really challenging at the same time. So yeah, kind of when I got selected for the Olympics, it was almost like a bit of redemption, and I don't know, I kind of just had to take it in my stride and just kind of get on with it. I was playing a new position. We were versing three really tough opposition, and so again, I kind of just put my head down and did what I could for the team.
Well, thank you very much, Captain Cliche. I want to know what it's like scoring at the Olympics, because not many Kiwis have done it. So what have you got for us? What was that moment like?
It was crazy. Honestly, it happened so quickly. I remember Stoddy was telling me to go higher, Kate, go higher. And so I moved a little bit higher, and then CJ threw me the ball, and I remember Mickey was on the left side of me screaming for it, and I was like, okay, like just wait a second, like it's fine, don't worry. And then I don't know what came over me, but no one was coming towards me, and so I kind of just thought like, why not? And so I shot, and yeah, went in, and that was it. And I what went through my head was, do not do a knee slide, do not do a knee slide.
No need for that.
Because I
would
knew
have
I'd
loved
screw it up.
Taylor.
No, I knew I'd screw it
Sorry,
up.
you've scored at the
Yeah.
Olympics.
That's the first thought.
Do
And
not
your
do it.
first thought is do not do a
Yeah,
knee slide.
No knee slide.
Well,
Oh,
I
that
can't
would have
remember
been
what
great.
happened, but some of us must have been talking about celebrations or something earlier, or a week earlier, or whenever it was, and I think I said I would love to do a knee slide one day, and then I must have thought about it a bit more, and I was like, no, like you can't do that. You're a defender. Like it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Goran
And yeah,
doesn't
when I
think like
scored,
that
I
at all,
was
Kate.
like,
I would never
Yeah.
do a knee slide. I'd like do a knee or an ankle or a hamstring or something, a quad.
You know, I can't speak to this. You've had a lot more experience. Goal celebrations, knee sliding, what are you doing?
Oh, I would love to do a knee slide. I think that's my goal, is to do a knee slide at some point. But then it comes down to I never do it. So maybe one day. You never know.
You
Make
just
sure
need
you-
the conditions to be absolutely
You need
perfect,
like
right?
a little
evening-
wet
an evening kickoff?
night
Yeah.
game, wet field. It might have rained earlier. or
Yeah.
I mean, I really feel like I would never do a knee slide, but if I was going to do it,
You've made that quite clear. Okay, your big opportunity came and you chose not to knee slide.
I think it would be into the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
What if you two people did a knee slide together?
Oh my god. Yeah, but this is so. Did you know that she's dislocated both of her kneecaps?
I did
Okay.
hear you say that.
Yeah, that's how that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Don't-
You would need practice and maybe knee slide
my
next to
God.
each other or something, or that would be cool.
Okay, we'll get someone to do that.
All right.
Auckland United,
Something-
tell your
pass
teammates.
my
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Ben Bates, get on it, mate. We need some time allocated in training towards knee slides.
knee slides, yeah.
Gee, something else happened at the Olympics though.
Yeah, how flattering was it, knowing that Canada wanted to spy on you? And did you see the drone flying overhead? And
Yeah,
what
I
were your
think-
thoughts?
I'm pretty sure it was Stoddy. She just looked up and was like, "What the heck is that?" And it was match day -2. We were match of -3, so we were doing tactics, and I remember she went crazy and she started running all over the field so they couldn't tell what we were doing. And yeah, I think we were kind of joking around like, oh, it's probably Canada, and then yeah, it ended up
was Canada.
being
Was
them.
So
Oh, you never think it would
Were you
happen to
booting
the World New
footballs at
Zealand.
it?
Take us through it, Kate.
How high up in the sky was it, and could you like try and knock it down?
It was so high, I could barely see it, and I was one of the youngest players on the team, so I'm not sure how the others could. But yeah, well, because
about
we
really
didn't have
bad
issues.
pictures.
all the old ladies over there. Oh, I can't quite see it.
My vision is 2020.
But I just know we didn't have our drone up, and so when we heard this thing buzzing and Stoddy started pointing, we were like, "This is too suspicious. Like, this cannot be happening to us. And why is it happening to us?" But it was, and yep. Next thing we know, it's Canada. So
And did it hang around? Because, I mean, obviously there's a moment where the operator's got to be like, oh, we've been spotted. Like, did he stay the course, or did he hightail it out of there as soon as he realised what was going on?
it must have been a couple of minutes, but I think he realised pretty quickly that we'd stopped, and he could probably see us all pointing, and then we had our staff kind of go and tell our security officers what was going on, and so then they started chasing him, and
How
Yeah,
did
it
they
was an
do that?
eventful
How did
day.
they
Yeah.
follow a drone?
Yeah, and how do they chase the guy?
well, I'm guessing he must have been decently close, and so I don't know if he really wanted to save his drone or what kind of happened, but he must have, I don't know, brought it down
That's
somehow.
a good
And
point. You take
Yeah.
the drone back to him. So
Yeah,
you
because they're
follow the
quite
drone.
expensive, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
You're not just going to burn a drone like, oh, abandoned drone, and then get out of there.
Yeah.
I have heard that for a time they were using like hawks. They were training hawks to take them down. So they would hunt them and like go on and grab them. So I've got no
What?
idea how. Yeah. So the
Like
hawk,
an actual bird.
yeah, a bird would come in and take it out. Because sometimes they've got the propellers below. But
Right.
The heck?
that sort of stuff fascinates me, Kate. Like the actual how you identify him, figure out where he is, but also if you need to take down the drone, because that was something that was hugely important during the Olympics. I mean, it's massive security risk, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he was sitting in a bush or what he was doing, but when we arrived there, I remember the girls were like, "Wow, this is an interesting field," because it was down and there were buildings surrounding it and hills and cliffs, and so we were like, "This is not a good spot to train for an Olympic Games."
Should we do?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Lovely.
Do it.
And here's your starting 11.
All right, Kate, starting 11. What was your first club?
Nomads United in Christchurch.
Who is the player that you looked up to growing up?
I'm gonna say Rosie White. I loved her.
Big shout. Is that the hat trick at the Under-17 World Cup?
Yeah, it was that, and just watching her play some highlights from college and from the NWSL, and yeah,
Very good. Who is your best mate in football?
it's a good one. I think
Chloe's
Zoe.
just here.
Yeah.
Chloe. Oh, she didn't get your name right. This is
It's
Chloe.
Chloe.
This is Chloe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chloe, not Zoe.
Oh, you said Zoe.
Oh,
It's Chloe.
It's Chloe.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate, Kate.
Yeah, I would say Zoe and I. We know how to push each other, and yeah, we probably not very good for each other because we give each other death bikes. But yeah, I think we've gotten really close.
Sorry, what was that? Death bikes?
Yeah, we would make the S&Cs give us these really hard bikes and end up dry reaching and all sorts, and yeah, it was great fun, and we were so competitive that we had to beat each other, and yeah, so fun.
Now, what is your pre-match superstition, Kate?
I like to brush my teeth before I go out and warm up. I don't know why.
Yeah, I've heard this. When
Yeah.
did this start?
Since probably the Phoenix, I would say.
Yeah, hang on. From an outsider's perspective, I kind of want to
Yeah, go ahead.
understand this. So you've gone through your warm-up, the coach has given the final instruction. At what point does Kate reach for the Colgate and start brushing teeth furiously?
There's
You
a
should
very
go-
big sponsorship opportunity here as well.
She's got a little pack, so it's like a little pack with a little toothbrush, toothpaste. Is it like a game day pack? It's not your nighttime toothbrush.
Actually, good question. Yeah.
No, it's a separate set of tooth cleaning appliances. And
Toothpaste, toothbrush, for those who want to understand
I
what
feel
I'm
like
saying.
brain just switched off.
I feel like there's other stuff in your little pack too.
Yeah, what appliances do you have in your pack, Kate?
Yeah, is it a quick brush, or have we got like floss or?
No floss, no floss. But
Yeah.
I have all sorts. Honestly, I feel like people would always ask to borrow things, and just
Anything you need, she's
Yeah.
got
I
prepared.
hope not the toothbrush, Kate. You don't want to be giving that
I
out.
don't
Yeah, I don't
understand
offer
from
that
from a sort of like a competitive standpoint why you'd brush your teeth. I would think like eat anchovies before going out and playing a game of football, so you're breathing your disgusting breath in the face of a striker, putting them off their game.
well, we take like gels and electrolytes, and it's not the nicest sometimes. So I feel like that's kind of why it started. But I haven't tried anchovies, but it's never too late, I guess.
Were you a little bit standoffish when you turn up to a new club? Because obviously, like at the Wellington Phoenix, people
She's
go,
like,
"Oh yeah,
"What?"
there's Kate, she's brushing her teeth." But now you're in France, and people
You're like, oh, she's discovered toothbrushes.
She's in a cubicle.
What's this girl doing?
Did you have to hide
Brushing
it?
teeth in
Or is it-
private.
Is it something that you just jump off to the sink and you go do in France?
I do. I have had a few weird stares, but I feel like they think I'm from the bush anyway, so it doesn't really bother them.
I'll lean into it.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Love
should be
that.
I
brushing
love
your
it.
teeth with a fern in that case.
I love it.
I would love
This
to.
is going really well for fast questions. What is the place that you've been to while playing that you want to go back to and experience on holiday?
I'd say Japan. It's awesome. I just think the culture, how they play football is so nice to watch. Lovely people. Yeah.
Who is the toughest player you've had to play against?
I would say Arne Hegerberg. Ballon d'Or winner.
Ooh.
Yeah, scores goals like it's so easy, and yeah, her movement is insane, so I'd say her.
Yeah, but how did you take care of her when you came up against her?
Just give her a little elbow in the ribs, or
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good. Yeah, yeah.
Like that,
Just
Kate.
off the ball. Referee's not watching.
Just
No,
let her know
yeah.
you're there.
She's intelligent, this one.
Who is your favourite non-footballing athlete?
I would have to say Dan Carter. Always loved him. Growing up from Christchurch, rugby, just yeah. Yeah, I
Oh, not
feel like
picking
I grew
it.
up around rugby more than football.
Why Dan Carter though? Is it because he was just phenomenal?
Yeah. Him and Richie, honestly, great duo. Just loved watching them, and yeah, I probably wanted to be like Dan when I was a kid.
What is the movie that you want to go back and watch for the first time?
Harry Potter. I feel like you can't beat them.
Yeah,
All
that
of
was my
them?
answer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good answer.
All 22 of them? Okay.
Yes, 100%.
What is the worst injury that you've had?
I had an injury in my back that was pretty uncomfortable. I really struggled to sit down. I know Chloe, you've struggled with that too, but yeah, just not being able to sit down, or walking wonky, and yeah, it kind of affects your everyday life, which was pretty painful.
What is your coffee order, Kate?
You might be disappointed, but I don't drink coffee.
Tea?
Yeah, I'll have an English breakfast with some milk. Take the tea bag out.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So you're 71, not 21.
Yes.
Do you do that while knitting?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kate.
And here's your starting 11.
Before we depart, though, a show of hands. Who's been sent off in a professional football match?
I was sent off in my last game.
Sent off in your...
Kate Taylor.
there's Kate, and there's the hand that I wanted to see, and the match that I wanted to talk about. And Chloe, you were there.
Yeah.
You had front row seats to
Yeah.
her send-off. It was
Yeah.
a Wellington Phoenix game against Brisbane Roar, January 2023, and she's chopped down the Brisbane Roar attacker.
Mm-hmm.
What did you make of that that challenge on that day?
I feel like I backed UK. I was like, you know what, fair enough. It's kind of one of those tackles you have to make, and fair enough.
I was so angry. I can't remember how it happened, but I think I was pissed off. Sorry. I was annoyed.
No, it's fine.
fine.
This stuff is good. Keep going.
I was annoyed at how the ball had been played through and how it had gotten through. And then for some reason I'd forgotten like football rules, and so I was like, oh no, like it was outside the box. But if I was like inside the box, it would have made it better because I would have got a pen and a yellow card. But I'd like forgotten all about football rules, and so I was like, no, outside the box, outside the box. But yeah,
You totally lost your head.
yeah. It was kind of embarrassing looking back on it, but it was pretty early on in the first half, and you guys drew, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
that
It was
was
a
a wild
3-3 draw,
game.
right? And at the end, there was the offside or not offside goal for Mickey Robertson that could have won it 4-3, right? Right at the death.
Oh,
I
it was
remember.
ridiculous. It was nowhere near offside.
Oh, it was so, that game.
I remember that too.
It felt like we were just battling. Like everyone was just in it. We wanted the win. Everyone was so hungry. You'd been sent off, and we were playing well. And then Mickey Robertson had that goal, and it was ruled offside. And we were like, "What is going on?" Like we were gonna win that game. Like we had all the momentum. 10 men, 1 man down, and yeah, it was just so frustrating.
Yeah, sorry.
There was a crack-up moment where Kate was, she's in the wall. She thinks that she's gotten away with it, forgetting her football brain and all that sort of stuff. She's
Hiding in
standing in the
numbers.
wall, ready to defend the free kick from Kat Gorry, and the ref's like, oh yeah, you need to go. And you're like, what? What for?
Dang, I didn't think this is what we'd be talking about on here. There was a bad one I did in the first season though, and the camera angle made it look horrific, but it wasn't actually as bad as it seemed.
Oh, this is the 2-footer, right? Where you
Yeah.
absolutely launched into somebody. Yeah, I love that tackle. Yeah. I think
But
you
it
took
looks
off a good
really
3
bad.
meters before the person. Yeah, and then to be fair, you hit the ball
Yeah.
beautifully, but anything else, and that ankle was in 2 pieces.
Yeah. That's okay. It's all part of it.
One thing I do want to ask is Easter in France. What are you doing over there? Have you got the chocolates rolling out? Is there some sort of like quintessential Dijon tradition that you have to do?
A mustard egg.
I haven't heard of anything crazy.
And have you got
But-
any Easter eggs?
No, I haven't, but I did have some chocolate today, I will be honest. But the supermarkets are filled with all sorts.
Yeah. Any highlights, Kate? Something you can't get in New Zealand?
Well, I think a Ferrero Rocher is from here. I feel like they're French. Yeah, I didn't have any of those, but if I did, yeah, if
But
I
they
could,
look nice
I
in the
would.
store.
What are you doing
Are you
for
window
fun?
shopping in the supermarket? What is going on here?
Well, I feel like if
What
I
are you
bought
doing for fun?
one thing,
Yes.
I'd eat it all. So it's just not even an option,